The Curse of Oak Island. Unexpected find at 185 feet leads guys to suspect they have the money pit. This week on The Curse of Oak Island, the guys are surprised and delighted to dig up wood from a depth that means it must be connected to the money pit. This was a great fast-paced episode, which brought us lots of intriguing discoveries and answers, albeit not always the answers that the team or us viewers wanted. But it does feel like the guys are making real progress. Since Craig Tester arrived back on the island last week with his borehole drilling chart, he's reinvigorated the search in the money pit area, and we're now starting to see some positive results. The guys have unearthed some more wood. Nothing unusual about that, you might say, but there was something unexpected. This wood was at 185 feet, which is significantly deeper than anything found previously. In fact, according to the historical record, none of the previous searchers have built anything deeper than 170 feet, which was the depth Irwin Hamilton reached with his tunnel in 1940. That means that this wood must have been placed there by depositors. It can be one of the infamous flood tunnels designed to keep out treasure hunters, or it could be part of the actual money pit. Guys asked, "Is this the money pit?" The guys were unable to hide their excitement as they discussed the possible options. They agreed that the whole area is promising with lots going on under the surface. Steve Guptill didn't mess about though. He said, "One option is we could be in the money pit." They discussed whether or not to drill even deeper. When Craig briefed Marty Lagina on the situation, the latter seemed confused as to why they hadn't already started digging deeper. They sent the drill back down, this time to a depth of 210 feet, and Terry Matheson and Charles Barkhouse eagerly pored over the spoils with fingers crossed that they'd find some wood or even treasure. Nothing but clay. The guys were visibly disappointed. They had hoped they finally found the collapsed money pit. But not all is lost. They might have just missed it this time. They decided that the wood at 185 feet was most likely from a tunnel. So the next step is to reposition the drill and to try to follow the tunnel, hopefully, all the way to the money pit. Gary Drayton's find of the week. Also this week, there was huge excitement when everyone thought that Gary Drayton had unearthed a gold or gold-plated knob/handle. Unfortunately, the bubble was burst by a combination of Laird Niven and expert Sandy Campbell, who pointed out it was just a fancy brass knob. Not all bad news, though, as Campbell said it was a high-end expensive handle most likely from a jewel box. But where are the contents? Also this week, we saw the mystery of the serpent mound solved definitively. This snake-shaped feature was discovered just a few weeks ago, and the guys had wondered if it was related to other serpent mounds discovered in North America that date back thousands of years. However, archaeologists Aaron Taylor and Miriam Amaralt concluded that it was not one of these mounds, but simply a pile of rubble, probably the spoils from another excavation. Perhaps more intriguingly, it could be, as Marty suggested, spoils from the money pit. In a twist that has fans of The Curse of Oak Island holding their breath, the Lagina brothers and their dedicated team may have just stumbled upon their most astonishing breakthrough yet. After more than a decade of relentless digging, chasing tantalizing clues, and battling the island's mysterious natural obstacles, an unexpected discovery at 185 feet has reignited hopes that the legendary money pit may finally have been located. The episode began like many others, with the team reviewing recent core samples and scanned data from the DMT borehole drilling project. Marty and Rick Lagina, flanked by geologist Terry Matheson and metal detection expert Gary Drayton, were reviewing anomalies picked up from a deep shaft they'd been quietly exploring over the past few weeks. The borehole, nicknamed DMT 105, had initially seemed unremarkable, until the drill hit an unusual resistance layer that fractured into what the team described as man-made voids at nearly 185 feet below the surface. Excitement quickly surged when the drill pulled up fragments of timber that appeared to be centuries old, but unlike previous discoveries, these were notably charred, blackened by what appeared to be fire. Laird Niven, the island's resident archaeologist, was immediately called to analyze the fragments. After a few field tests and visual inspection, Laird concluded that the wood appeared to be part of a collapsed support beam, likely from a tunnel or shaft, and possibly debris or an old tree root, Laird explained to the group. These are worked timbers, structurally cut, and there's evidence of controlled burning. This could be part of the original money pit collapse or a booby trap system. As the team took in the implications, Marty's eyes lit up with a mixture of excitement and cautious skepticism. "We've had many promising leads," He noted, but we've never found this kind of combination. Timbers, burning, and voids, so deep and so specific to the area marked by 18th century accounts. But that wasn't all. Further down the shaft, the drill encountered what sounded like a metal-on-metal scrape, bringing the entire team rushing to the drill site. When the next core was extracted, it included a chunk of what appeared to be lead or iron, oxidized and encased in clay. Gary Drayton nearly dropped his metal detector when he got a high-toned reading off the sample. "Mate," Gary said breathlessly, "this is no ordinary scrap. This could be part of a chest hinge or a lock. This might be a piece of the treasure container itself." In classic Oak Island fashion, the discovery prompted a deeper dive not just into the ground, but into the island's rich, perplexing history. Doug Krull returned to the research table, cross-referencing historical data from the original Money Pit dig in 1795. Strikingly, the depth reported in historical records for the discovery of a mysterious stone with odd inscriptions was approximately 90 feet. But accounts also mention a collapse shortly after reaching deeper levels, which matches the depth and signs of burning timbers. This find at 185 feet may indicate that we're beneath the original collapse zone, Doug suggested. We could be right underneath the vault. That possibility sent shockwaves through the team. Drilling was paused to send down a sonar camera, which provided murky yet compelling visuals, an apparent tunnel-like formation, extending horizontally before dipping downward again. Craig Tester and Charles Barkhouse reviewed the footage carefully, noting geometric angles that didn't align with natural formations. "It's like a staircase going further down," Craig said. "If that's man-made, and if it leads to a chamber, we may be looking at the first structural proof of the Money Pit." Later that day, Rick Laguna stood silently at the borehole, visibly emotional. "For all the times we've come up short, for all the years we've fought the island and its secrets, this just feels different," he said. "There's an energy here I can't explain. It feels like the island is finally talking to us." In keeping with their cautious approach, the team decided to prepare for a full excavation of the shaft, bringing in casing to prevent collapse and protect the site. Heavy machinery was brought in to secure the surrounding area, and safety protocols were heightened as they planned to send down a small exploratory team for a visual inspection. As word spread across the island, the anticipation grew. Even Dan Blankenship's son, David, came out to the site, visibly moved as he looked on. "Dad always believed it was down there," he said. "I think he'd be proud of what you guys are doing." The episode closed with a stunning teaser. The exploratory camera caught what looked like a flat, rectangular object embedded in the clay wall of the tunnel. A glint of something metallic, hidden for centuries. The footage was grainy, but the shape was distinct. "We've waited a long time to see something like this," Marty said, gripping his hard hat. "This could be it. This could be the beginning of the end, or the beginning of everything we've hoped for." Social media erupted following the broadcast, with fans declaring this the most exciting development in the Curse of Oak Island history. Some remained skeptical, citing the island's long track record of producing mysterious but inconclusive finds. Others, however, are daring to believe the Money Pit, mythical, elusive, and long whispered about, might finally be within reach. One thing's for sure, Oak Island just raised the stakes. The coming weeks could reveal whether the team has uncovered the island's most sacred secret, or if the curse still holds tight to its treasure, keeping it hidden just a little longer.